All right, let's get started. Welcome. You've been cleared for Level 4 access, so what you're about to view is a highly classified explainer and threat assessment. We're looking at an artifact capable of quite literally unmaking human civilization as we know it, SCP-1139. I need you to pay incredibly close attention here, because this data represents a catastrophic, existential threat to humanity. Our survival, frankly, depends on your absolute comprehension of this briefing. Okay, so for today's briefing, we'll be moving through 4 precise stages. First, the physical anomaly itself. Second, the broken tongue effect. Third, the tragedy of Dr. R. And finally, the global extinction threat. Let's dive right into Section 1, the physical anomaly. At first glance, the object in question appears totally unremarkable. SCP-1139 is just this dense, metallic gray rectangular block. It's roughly 20 centimeters high, 5 centimeters square at the base, and it is proven entirely impervious to, any kind of deterioration or damage, which means its true origin and age are completely unknown to us. But don't let its mundane appearance fool you. It's highly deceptive. See, the monolith plays this incredibly sinister visual trick on the observer. The sides are patterned with these square protrusions, and when you look at them, or even just look at photographs of them, your mind is tricked into seeing block letters from a language you already know. But it's an illusion, a complete fabrication. This quiet, humming block begins manipulating your mind the exact moment you lay eyes on it. Because of this nature, our containment procedures are extreme, and honestly, bizarrely archaic. It's enclosed in a thick rubber mold, locked inside a Faraday cage, sitting on a static-free bench. The dark containment chamber is illuminated exclusively by the rich, amber glow of flickering gas lamps. We're talking absolutely zero unapproved electrical devices inside. Not even a digital watch. Definitely not a pacemaker. Just to emphasize the sheer gravity of these protocols for a second, 3 meters. That's the minimum number of meters of solid, unreinforced concrete required for the walls of its room. Now, you might be wondering, why a seemingly inert 20-centimeter block of metal requires the kind of heavy isolation we usually reserve for nuclear fallout? Well, that brings us to Section 2, the broken tongue effect. We're shifting focus to its mechanism of action and exactly what happens if those protocols are breached. The core threat we're dealing with is the SCP-1139 effect. The trigger here is electricity. Upon the application of a direct current, the object emits an effect that causes an instantaneous, entirely irreversible overwrite of all known languages in a subject's mind. It's just gone. The linguistic overwrite leaves absolutely no trace of your original language behind. Let's walk through the exact chronological steps of how an exposure plays out. Step 1, a current hits the block. Step 2, the anomalous area of effect expands outward. Step 3, anyone caught in that radius instantly begins speaking, writing, and thinking in a completely new, fully formed alien language. And then there's Step 4, the real cold finality of it all. The subject's ability to ever learn or relearn any human language is permanently destroyed. And here is where the profound psychological horror really sets in. The victim is perfectly lucid. They don't feel any brain damage. In fact, they firmly believe they are speaking normally in their native tongue. They simply cannot understand why the rest of the world has suddenly gone silent, or why their colleagues are just staring at them in absolute horror. They are fully aware, yet permanently trapped behind an impenetrable wall of their own new language. Which leads us to Section 3, the tragedy of Dr. A. To truly understand this devastating impact on a human level, we need to review the descent of the Foundation's own lead linguist. I want you to consider these words from early testing. We have a Rosetta Stone for this one. This should be simple to decode or prove as nonsense. Those were the words of Dr. A. It's a statement just dripping with tragic irony and, frankly, extreme hubris. Believing he could outsmart the anomaly, he broke protocol. He deliberately exposed himself to the artifact without any oversight. The outcome of his unauthorized experiment was, it was horrifying. Before the exposure, Dr. A was a brilliant mind, perfectly fluent in 8 human languages. But because of how the anomaly maps to the brain, he didn't just lose English. He woke up knowing 8 completely distinct, untranslatable alien languages. His mind was fractured into 8 new prisons, each corresponding to a different location on a blank map he desperately tries to point to. So today, one of the greatest linguistic minds of the Foundation is entirely unable to communicate beyond basic, non-verbal pantomime. Having lapsed into severe depression, he now resides permanently in a dimly lit, shadowy long-term medical facility. He's kept under strict, round-the-clock suicide watch. Essentially, he's entirely alone in a crowded room. Moving to Section 4, the global extinction threat. We need to escalate this briefing to the macro scale to understand why this Euclid-class object is considered a literal worst-case scenario. To grasp the scale, look at its recovery timeline. Mobile Task Force Delta 5 raided a Church of the Broken God outpost in Illinois. Down in the basement, they found a violent, demented elderly man literally holding the block. After neutralizing him, the aftermath revealed the true historical scale of what we're dealing with. The room contained millions of ancient, untranslatable texts spanning thousands of years, meaning this object has been used as a weapon to shatter human communities for millennia. But the crux of the global threat? That lies in the math. The anomaly's radius of effect expands exponentially based on electrical wattage. So, a minor static shock only creates a radius of less than a meter. A 200-watt current takes out an entire laboratory chamber. But a massive lightning strike? The exact data is expunged above your clearance level, but calculations confirm it results in a planetary-scale threat. That terrifying exponential curve means that if this object is exposed to the open air during a severe storm, a single, natural weather event could permanently and irreversibly destroy global human communication. Literally every person on Earth would suddenly be speaking a unique, untranslatable language. Society as we know it would collapse overnight. And this is exactly why we use gas lamps and concrete. It's why the brutalist bunker of research area has to maintain ungrounded lightning rods at a strict 200-meter perimeter at all times. These are desperate architectural countermeasures taken to protect against the violent lightning storms outside, because one stray bolt hitting that containment cell initiates an apocalyptic scenario. So, I want to leave you with this deeply ominous reality to consider. If the single bolt of lightning breaches our defenses, if containment fails, who will be left to understand our final words? The answer is no one. We'd be a planet of billions, forced into absolute permanent silence. You're dismissed. This concludes today's briefing. If you wish to maintain your current clearance level and ensure continued access to the Versarian database, a subscription to this channel is mandatory. Secure your connection by leaving a like on this file, and log your requests in the comments section below to dictate which anomaly we unseal next. Stay vigilant and expect your next set of logs every day. Secure, contain, protect.